Hello, hello.
Good evening.
Good evening. I just had to mute all the things because I realized I didn't mute them and they were all going off as I was trying to uh, see who is all joining us. Hello, hello. Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube. We love our people over on YouTube because we can see your comments in our thing here and pull them up. So if you like the best experience for tonight, especially, head on over to YouTube. But for anyone joining us tonight we are talking about how to generate tax-free income for life. This is a response or solution to the book written by Curtis Ray called Everyone Ends Up Poor. You got that book with you, right, Donnell?
I can't reach it, but yes, I do.
Well, if you like a copy of this book, you can get it for free by going to our website. And that's what we're going to dive into tonight. So, no games. We're not going to drag this out. We're just going to get right into it so that we can all learn and share. This is a solution.
Sounds good. So a couple things. I think setup is worthy. Um, I have a lot of calls throughout the day around how can I achieve the retirement that I deserve. And if you think back from the last few lives that we've had, it's kind of been a buildup. We started out with the wealth equation. You know, pay yourself first, starting today, somewhat secure, compound your money, and then at the end of the day, add leverage to it to create exponential growth with an emphasis on paying yourself first. And then we jumped into velocity banking. And the goal of velocity banking was to free up cash flow. And when you free up that cash flow, you have to do something with it. How do you change your cash flow or input your cash flow into a machine that also now starts to produce income over time securely? Well, today is about where do you put it? Today is about what is that vehicle that you put that extra cash flow in after you've paid yourself first, starting today, blah, blah, blah. Where do you actually put that money to actually be able to produce that income that securely providing you with, or that provides you with the security over time so that you can retire when you want, or, buy what you want, or, be with your family, whatever retirement looks like for you, whatever that utopia piece looks like for you, this is that vehicle to be able to do so. So I think the best thing to do is to kind of jump into the vibe board, and I'll share with you a high level example. Uh, And when I say high level, I'm going to laugh because my
Yeah,
wife
because I
made a
was
comment
asking him
about
the
me
other
being high
day. I
level.
said, "Oh, could you give me a low level
Right.
example?"
I
And
do
he
say
was
high
like,
level a lot.
"What are you talking about?" I'm like, "You always do high level. Do you ever do low level, medium level, like
So we're
an
going to play a
average
game.
level?"
Every time I say high level, put it in the chat.
Oh, I love
Count how
this
many
game.
times I say high level. There we go. All right.
Oh, but
So,
I want to just say this. This
yes.
is the part where Donnell talks about because people had asked in the chat on our last stream, where when are you going to talk about how your money makes its own money and that money makes its own money? So this is it. This is the one, folks. So grab your notebooks and let's learn. All right, you
Let's
ready
do
to
it.
go over to the whiteboard?
Yep, let's do it.
Okay, I'm gonna start off with us and then maybe go just to you. And if anybody has questions in the meantime too, pop them in the chat. We are monitoring the LinkedIn chat on our phone and also the Facebook. So we will see it and we will be sure that it gets answered. All right, hold on. Here we go.
All right. Everything looks pretty good.
Yep, it's coming in
So
clear.
awesome. So let's kind of set the stage a little bit. I'd say on average, my client base is somewhere between the age of 30 and 50. Um, Recently, I've been getting an influx of, I'd call it 22 to 35. And what's weird is I get these calls going, hey, I am very interested in building a retirement. And so if I put in these numbers, put in these dollar amounts, how long will it take before I can retire? And here's the problem with talking to 22, 25, 30-year olds about retirement. Like, just think about yourself. Who really wants to wait till age 65 before they can touch their money? Like, no one. And when you're talking to a 25-year-old about a Roth IRA, a Roth 401k, to me, it's borderline disrespectful because who wants to wait that long before they can touch their money?
Right.
And so here's how I kind of articulate it to those in that, I'll call it 22 to 35 range. I'm not going to talk to you about retirement. I'm going to talk to you about income. And so, regardless of your age, this is about income. Now, it's labeled as retirement income, but in truth, this income can be touched at any point. Now, name one retirement vehicle that you know of that allows you to touch your money when you're ready. Not at some age, not at some points in age, not at 72, 65. Like there's a whole country that's in turmoil around the retirement age being moved. What if there was a vehicle that it didn't matter what your retirement age is? And so that's kind of what we sort of set the stage a little bit. So we're going to use a 30-year-old. And actually, I did this exact example earlier this afternoon. 30-year-old makes about $60,000 a year. Again, not super rich, but the goal is to be able to retire with at least six figures. And when I asked this gentleman how, what is that retirement age that he had in mind, he gave me 65. So, got a 30-year-old retiring at age 65. He makes $60,000 a year. And the thought process,
Oh, I think you're frozen.
let's see here. Give me
You,
just a minute.
your camera.
Let's see here. I am
Yeah,
frozen. Give me
yeah, we
just a
gotta
moment.
fix it. Wonder how that happened. It's a strange thing. All right. Well, in the meantime, don't forget to ask questions in the chat as he's going through this. You're gonna love this example. And anybody watching the replay, same thing. But I have a question while we're trying to get this figured out. You're still frozen to me from what I see.
Yeah, I'm
If
working on it.
okay, and I'm looking in the thing, and I think you're still frozen there too. If you wouldn't mind, tell us what generation you are. So if you're Gen X, Gen Z, maybe. Even though you talk to a lot of Gen Z people, so it's not uncommon as you're kind of going through this example. Um, what do we call boomers? Are they Gen B? Like, why don't we call them? Why is everything else Gen this, right? Then all of a sudden there's like millennials and boomers. Why didn't they? That doesn't make sense. Make it make sense. Now I'm thinking about that and I'm not with that actually. Okay, so get some technical difficulties here. Part of the process. What did everybody have for dinner? What's your favorite snack? Do we have any other peanut butter lovers watching while we're waiting? Oh, I can see you at the bottom. Okay. Hmm. Okay. It's showing for me. Yeah. And I think let's see. Yeah, it totally took you out. I don't know what the deal is. I don't know if everybody can see me doing all this here.
Yeah, they can. They see the adjustments.
All right, it's fine.
Is what it is.
Is what it is. This is how you do it, folks. You want to go live. This is what you do. And then we even have the ability here. What? Wait, why won't it maybe it's because it's uh I'll fix it in just a second. Here,
All right.
just keep
So
going.
everyone can see me. Everyone can hear me, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I
All right.
can.
So awesome. So let's transition to the vibe board. So again, 30-year-old makes $60,000 a year. Again, that's not super rich, but his goal is to be able to retire at 65 with a minimum of six figures. And right now, he's contributing to his company's 401k. And the question that he had for me is, how does this 401k compare to what I was offering, which is a premium finance strategy using a strategy called MPI, maximum premium indexing. So let's get into it. So, again, making $60,000 a year, the thought process is, what if you were putting away 10% of your income? 10% of $60,000 is $6,000. $6,000 a year. $6,000 a year divided by 12, that's $500 a month. So what does it look like putting away $500 a month into a product like maximum premium indexing? And my thought process with this group is I want to show the why. I'm sorry, I want to show the how first, meaning I want to show the end result. What is the end result of putting away $500 a month over the next, what is that, 35 years? Well, over the next 35 years, putting away $500 a month ends up being about 147,000 in tax-free income for the rest of his life. 147,000 in tax-free income. Comparatively, if he would do the exact same thing inside of his 401k, $500 a month over the same 35 years inside of a 401k equates to about 47,000 in tax-free income. Again, 147,000 compared to 47,000.
That's a big difference.
That's a ridiculous difference. That's $100,000 difference in income on an annual basis. And here's the other piece. This number, he's still going to be taxed on. So it's $47,000 a year inside of a 401k, and he's going to be taxed on that 47,000 compared to 147,000 tax free
For life.
for life. And again, it's a no-brainer. There's not a question of why should I have one over the other. But again, this is the how. I'm sorry, this is the why. This is the what. I'm confusing myself. This is the what. This is the end result of if you were to put away $500 a month over time, what does it look like?
Yeah,
Well,
that's the difference of what everyone else is doing, what we're taught to do, what we think is making sense, what we think is moving the needle or pushing our goals, making this all American dream achievable of retiring or having a secure future. We're all doing on the right hand column.
right,
That's what we're taught to do,
right.
even though we're not really taught what to do. But that's what we learn to do, right?
And what I want to do is just kind of
Welcome, Ted.
deep
Yeah, we're
dive these
diving
a
in.
little bit different. And if you've ever watched anyone use this calculator in a live stream or online, very rarely does the opportunity present itself where you can deep dive these numbers a little bit. And so what I'd like to do is just understand where these are coming from. So again, over that over that 35-year period, the contribution amount is a total of $210,000, $500 a month over 35 years. So whether you're doing an IRA and 401k, and again, this says IRA or 401k, but it could be a 403b, a TSP, a government 457 plan. It doesn't really matter what the government or IRS controlled pension plan would be. The results are traditionally the same because they're all functioning from the same IRS code. So $210,000 over that 35-year period, approximately the same. The way this side of the equation, this 401k IRA side of the equation is set up, this is basically assuming a 9% return in your IRA or 401k and a 1% management fee inside of your retirement account. And here's what I know. And I know this for a fact because I build IRAs and 401ks. None of us are making 9% inside of our retirement account. And majority of us do not have a 1% or less management fee. Most of us have somewhere between 1 and 2, if not 2 and above. But this is given the benefit of the doubt. So this is assuming the best case scenario. What does it look like over a 35-year period putting away $500 a month? Well, I'm going to call this comparable. I'm going to say that 1.5 million inside of an MPI plan compared to 1.1 million inside of an IRA, 401k, 403b, TSP, doesn't matter, government 457 plan. I'm going to call it comparable because we're both millionaires. We have both achieved the ability of being a millionaire. And when I asked this gentleman, okay, so you're a millionaire in both, what would you expect that income to be if you're a millionaire? And most people, when I ask this question, say the same thing. We all expect to at least have 6 figures for life. If I'm a millionaire, there's no reason why I shouldn't have 6-figure income coming in. Well, the problem with that is inside of traditional retirement accounts, again, you're a millionaire, inside traditional retirement accounts, they are great for accumulating income. They are great for building net worth. But building net worth doesn't equate to income. In order to achieve income, you have to be able to replenish that which you take. And so all traditional retirement accounts are based off this thing called the safe withdrawal rate, SWR. The safe withdrawal rate says the maximum you can take out of your retirement account and still have enough to be able to live is 4%. So just do some simple math. You're a millionaire. The max you can take is 4%. 4% of $1 million is 40 grand a year. So again, you're a millionaire, but the max you can live on is $40,000 a year, and you're going to be taxed on that.
And
And that's
so
what this, go ahead.
And so right now, with there being a lot of finfluencers, the financial influence boom that's happened across social media, this is where a lot of people start using the Roth topics, right? This is where they say, but if you had put these dollars, these initial dollars in a
Into a
Roth
Roth
account,
IRA.
yeah, oh, the difference that that would make, and when it can make a difference, but not compared to this.
Right. And let's talk through that difference. Let's say this is a Roth IRA account or a Roth 401k for that matter. Because most people don't realize all of your accounts can have Roth dollars in it. It just means you're paying taxes on the contribution. So let's assume this is a Roth account. That doesn't change the SWR. That doesn't change the safe withdrawal rate. Still, the maximum that you're able to take in withdrawal every year is 4%. And here's why: because it's actually done for your benefit. If you take 4% as income out of this number, what does that mean? Well, you're withdrawing 47,000 from this number. So if you withdraw 47,000 from this number is now $47,000 less.
Right, because you're withdrawing.
Exactly, because you're withdrawing. So the hope is you achieve enough growth inside of that account. Okay, and what is that growth? The hope is that you achieve enough growth inside of that account to where you make up for what it is you have taken out. So if the growth is 9%, you just took out 4%. The thought process is if you made 9 and you took out 4, then your account still grows by 4 or 5%, which means you're not running out of money.
And that
That's
the
the
point and
Go
that's
ahead.
the point is that you have to have a strategy to not run out of money because you're siphoning out of your account.
Any of you who have older parents who have retired, how many of your parents or how many of those older individuals that you know are concerned about running out of money in retirement? Just about
Okay,
every retiree I talk to is concerned that they will not have enough.
and I don't know that everyone would know the answer to this because this is an uncomfortable conversation to have, whether if it's with your parents or it's with your kids. Like, what child, regardless of how old you are, you're still a child of your parents, right? You're living. What child feels like they can go to their parents and have a conversation about their finances? That's uncomfortable to have to do, but it's important. But I think that this is why multi-generational living is becoming more of a popular thing because so many people are running out of funds, and you don't find this out until the money is gone.
Right. Your financial advisor is not going to talk to you at age 35 about how you need to have this dollar amount so that you don't run out of money by the time you retire. They're going to wait till you're 55, till you're approaching that retirement age. Why? If you learned at 35 that you needed $4.5 million to have a six-figure retirement, you probably would be looking elsewhere to be able to achieve that 4.5 million because your 401k, your company's 401k is not going to do it. But your financial advisor is going to mention that because he knows he'd lose your business.
And
And
you
that's
know it's
that those are just facts.
And you know what he's not going to mention? When your mother in law has to move in with you, or your father in law, or if you are the mother in law and then you end up having to rely and like, let's pool our resources, guys, because I did my best. I did
Right.
my best. And it's not that people didn't plan, it's not that they didn't try. Because let's be honest, this is not a dig at people, right?
Right.
But this is saying that the way that things are set up now are not set for us to be set for life. And we should be. That's how we should have a culture that sets us up to be set for the rest of our lives. If you put the work in, now look what you get to do. But what you're about to learn tonight is this is the smarter, not harder. This is not the you get in, you get out what you put in type of thing. This is completely different. I feel like this is the hope. This is the this is just different. And I feel like the conversations that you have with people and the amount of lives that you're able to change simply with information is wild to me.
And this is where like Ted always comes with the heat because Ted said, is this why old people end up going back to the workforce? This is absolutely why.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. There's this YouTube video that throughout this broadcast, we'll start kind of sharing some of this stuff. But there's this YouTube video, or I think it's a TikTok, of an older lady delivering pizzas. And she's probably 70 plus years old, delivering pizzas to this house, and she trips over the steps, and all the pizzas fall all over the place, and she's totally embarrassed. The
She
family
almost
comes out, and they show her all sorts of compassion around, how, it's okay, we'll, replace the pizzas, not a big deal. And it's this, somber story around how this family then starts a GoFundMe account for the 70-year-old pizza delivery person. And now the GoFundMe has 200 plus $1,000 in it. And now the pizza delivery person can now fully retire because of this GoFundMe account.
except
It's just the saddest thing in the world, right?
it is
Instead
sad,
of,
but hold on. Has anybody else seen this? Put in the chat if you've seen this TikTok that was going around about the lady who was delivering pizza. She almost knocked her teeth out on the furniture on the patio.
right.
It is not safe out here, but who else? She got that job because the job was available and they needed people, right?
But no, it's not that he needed people. She needed income.
No, well, that's why she's looking for a job. But I'm saying that nowadays people can be pickier, right?
Right.
And
Right.
so, where this would normally be a job where they might go, this might not be the best thing for you, right? This might not be a good hire. They also beg, the beggars can't be choosers type of thing. When you are up against the wall and you have to make decisions, which is like a perfect reason why we have to learn this information.
Right.
Because otherwise, the amount of desperation that we are faced with will have people out here doing some crazy stuff.
And Miguel on, I believe it's LinkedIn, just commented that he did see that video. So
Yeah.
there are people seeing it. So
So
again, I don't want to
sad.
belabor this point. Here's what I'm getting at. There's just simply a better way. And again, the same individual putting away $500 a year,
Yep.
$500, $500 a month, I'm sorry, $6,000 a year inside of a secure compound interest producing vehicle does something different. And I want to just share with you what these numbers mean. Again, putting away $210,000 over that 35-year period, and the growth of around 7% on this dollar amount, plus secure leverage. This is a piece that I don't expect anyone to understand, but just understand it's available. Secure leverage in the form of about $1.8 million. And the growth, or the amount being made on this dollar amount is about 3%. So 7% on your money plus 3% on this leverage is what produces or creates this 1.5 million. And this 1.5 million, if you look at the correlation between these two numbers, 1.5 million compared to this 147,000, if you look at the correlation between these two numbers, this is approximately, I'll call it 9.8%. Maybe it's close. Let's just call it 10 for just simple math sake. What this is saying is you would be able to take a distribution of approximately 10% of this 1.5 million for the rest of your life. Let me flip this around 180 degrees to help you understand what that means. This 1.5 million is making closer to 13, 14, 15, 16%. So if you have a gross cash value of about 1.5 million making 13%, and you take a distribution of 10%, you're basically living off the interest. So you're not taking a withdrawal. So there's no concern as to whether or not you're going to run out of money because your 1.5 million is making 13% and you're taking a distribution of 10%, which means you could take this 10% forever, 10% or less forever, and you will never run out of money. And as a matter of fact, you continue making more money, which means you have more available to you as the years progress. Am I making sense?
Yeah, I think you're making sense to more people than me, which is good. But walk back through that same. It's the same $500 whether it goes in this machine or it goes in this machine, and the amount of time.
Absolutely. So again, just to reset the stage, 30-year-old who I don't like to talk about retirement with, but this 30-year-old said, hey, I want to at least be making six figures by 65. I make $60,000 a year. He asked me what a good dollar amount was, and I told him 10% of his income. He said he could do that in his sleep. So $60,000 a year, 10% of his income is $6,000. $6,000 divided by 12 is $500 a month. So the thought process is from age 30 to age 65, putting away $6,000 a year, $500 a month, what does that equate to? Well, inside this vehicle, it equates to 147,000 over that period of time. And again, he's putting in 210,000. His money is making on average 7%. There's a portion of secure leverage starting in year 3. And again, I know there should be questions around how you get here, and we will get there. But just understand there's this secure leverage where he's making 3%. So 7% on his money, 3% on the secure leverage is what's creating this 1.5 million. If he did the exact same thing inside of an IRA or 401k, and again, assuming some I'll call it less than likely terms, 9% growth over time plus a 1% management fee. Again, I'm calling this comparable. He's still a millionaire, regardless of the vehicle. But the difference is not the net worth, the difference is the income. The difference in income over this same period of time is what makes this product different. And again, this is a taxable amount, this is a tax free amount.
Okay, well, you also mentioned the leverageable piece,
Yes.
and that's another part that makes it different.
Well, without this leverage, how could you possibly go from 210,000 to 1.5 million without help? So this 210,000 it's virtually impossible. I don't care what the vehicle is to get to this type of dollar amount without assistance. So yes, this leverage piece again deserves an explanation. And again, we will, if you follow along on this live, we will absolutely get to all of the details associated with how these numbers come about. But at this point, at this stage, just accept it. And now what I would like to do is kind of break down just the differences between this product, maximum premium indexing. It's a premium finance strategy applied to an IUL, and your traditional retirement accounts like IRAs and 401ks. Why is there such a drastic difference? Why is it that you can do the same dollar amount inside of two different vehicles and get such a drastic difference? I just want to kind of break down some of those reasons why. And to do that, I need to go to a different screen. So give me just a minute.
Oh, are you going to the main one?
Absolutely, dear.
Okay, hold on. It's gonna play a sound if I need to remove that sound. Hold on a second. Here we go.
I love that. So we've talked a lot about MPI, maximum premium indexing. In short, what is MPI? Maximum premium indexing is a life insurance product designed to produce income. And notice, I said designed to produce income. Oh, hold on. I said designed to produce income, but on this visual, it shows retirement income. I'm a retirement planner, and that's kind of the bulk of what I do. I help people retire when they want to retire. But again, when I'm talking to a 25 to a 35-year-old, I don't mention the word retirement because this is about income and this is about being able to access income when you want. So again, the message that I'm trying to send today is what are the differences between a vehicle like this compared to a vehicle like a traditional IRA, 401k, Roth IRA, Roth 401k, 403b, TSP. Again, it doesn't matter the name. What is the difference between these products? And so for that, I want to just kind of walk you through some of those benefits and differences. So again, MPI is focused on, it's a life insurance product that uses the growth of the stock market plus leverage of other people's money to be able to accelerate the growth. So if you remember the difference in dollar amounts, 147,000 compared to 47,000. That's a significant difference. Well, that significant difference takes place because of this piece. You take this leverage piece out, it's very difficult to be able to achieve. But what I like to do is just kind of walk through some of the differences between the two. And again, apologize for my handwriting, but you're going to run into a lot of my bad handwriting. How does it compare between MPI, a traditional 401k or an IRA, or any Roth account? And any Roth account could be a Roth IRA, Roth 401k. There's 403bs who have Roth dollars in it. It doesn't matter. What I mean by Roth is you're able to achieve tax-free income. 401ks, IRAs, 403bs, traditional retirement accounts, these are taxable retirement accounts. And then there's MPI. Again, I just want to walk through what some of the differences are. Well, One of the biggest pieces around MPI, as I mentioned, is this is a life insurance product. Okay, so what does that mean? That means that when you have this product on day one, if something were to happen to you on day two, meaning this use a 30-year-old putting away $500 a month, he puts in that $500 at month one. He steps outside of his door on day two, gets hit by a bus. When he gets hit by a bus, there's a death benefit that pays out to his beneficiaries. Show me the 401k or the IRA that on day two, after you started contributing to it, there's some type of death benefit payout to your beneficiaries if something happens to you. How about it doesn't exist? So at a minimum, this is a life insurance product designed to produce retirement income. Can your current IRAs or 401ks do that? Is the question. You can absolutely do it here. Let's make this a little bit bigger. You absolutely can do this here. But inside of your IRA and 401k, absolutely not. Absolutely not. And I guess here, make it a little bit prettier. Let's do check marks instead.
I don't know. Can they hear me? Because I'm supposed to be showing on here. It's like but it doesn't. So now I'm wondering if anyone can hear.
I'm not sure. Um, but in addition, there's also living benefits. And those living benefits, let me explain what that means. Inside of a properly structured life insurance product that's designed to produce income, there is what's called these riders. There's a terminal chronic illness riders. And here's ultimately what that means. If something were to happen to you, some type of terminal or chronic illness that meant that you were no longer able to work, that you were no longer able to do the functions that you're traditionally doing on a daily basis. Let's say you're contributing to a maximum premium indexing plan, and this occurs 6 months in, 12 months in, a year in, 2 years in, doesn't matter. And for whatever reason, you are no longer capable of doing your job due to some terminal or chronic illness. Well, you could actually use that death benefit, which is the life insurance portion, while you're living to be able to use as income. Show me the 401k or the IRA that would allow you to do that. Again, doesn't exist. So as I mentioned, doesn't exist here, but it absolutely exists here. Decreasing expenses. And this one is an interesting topic, the decreasing of expenses piece, because there's a lot of arguments around life insurance products and how expensive they are. But when you're comparing apples to apples, meaning vehicle to vehicle, no one ever questions the fees inside of their IRA or 401k. Very rarely do you hear anyone mention, hey, I've got this 401k and I'm happy with it, except there are these fees that are nickel and diming me to death, because most people have no idea as to what the fees look like inside of traditional retirement accounts. So I've got a small little visual I want to share.
All right, I'm ready.
So inside of, I'll make this a little bit bigger. Inside of traditional retirement accounts, and again, there's this thing called management fees or advising fees. It's kind of varied. It really just kind of depends on the type of product that you have. But most of the fees, if not all of the fees inside of traditional retirement accounts, and again, it doesn't matter the name, it doesn't matter if it's Roth or traditional, they all have what's called compounding fees. Meaning when you start your traditional retirement account, when you first enter that job and you start contributing, they start taking out that 5%, 10%, and you got a 3% match, whatever it is. When you start contributing to your company's retirement account, those fees are fairly small. And it kind of says that here in this visual. So a 25-year-old contributing to a traditional retirement account with a 1% advising fee, notice, $500 a month for a 25-year-old, that fee is somewhere around $66. Fairly low. But if you compare that to a traditional, I'll call it a properly structured cash value life insurance product, what does that fee look like? Well, for the same 25-year-old, putting away $500 a month over that year's time, so $500 a month times 12, $6,000, over that year's time, that fee looks more like $490. So if you're listening to any of those social media people who bag or hate on cash value life insurance product, they always scream about the expense, but they never tell you the full story. So it is true. The cash value life insurance products are higher in the early years compared to traditional retirement accounts. That's a fact. But as the years progress, as you get older, what happens with that fee? Well, inside of a properly structured cash value life insurance product, those fees decrease to the point where at the time when you want to start taking distributions, the fees are actually the lowest. So think about it. Remember the 147,000 by age 65? Instead of paying $490 a year, which some people call expensive, it's only $60 a year for life. But compare that to the 401k. It's a compounding fee. Yes, it started out lower. Well, what does it look like 5 years, 10 years later? How about 10 years after that? How about 10 years after that? What does it look like when it's time for you to actually start taking distributions comparatively? And now let's add up those dollar amounts over time. The cumulative insurance fees compared to the cumulative 401k fees. We're talking about a difference of about $412,000. Which is worse? And again, if you're talking to the social media people who bag on properly structured cash value life insurance product, here's where their argument is actually valid. If it's not done right, these fees can get out of control. But the key is you have to be working with someone who can produce a properly structured cash value life insurance policy that is producing income for you, which means it has the least amount of fees. You're purchasing the least amount of life insurance, and the death benefit is increasing so that you're taking full availability of the cash value. Again, a lot of words. We'll get into the details of what that means. But the moral of the story is it has to be properly structured. And if it's properly structured, what does that mean? That means that those fees that everyone is talking about comparatively is almost borderline non-existent. Again, it's a difference of about 412,000 in a traditional IRA, 401k, 403b compared to a properly structured life insurance product. So again, as we talk about decreasing fees, which one does it better? We're talking MPI compared to traditional retirement accounts, whether Roth or traditional. How about no access penalty? And this is where, again, I go back to when I'm talking to anyone in that range of 22 to 35, I do not have conversations about retirement because who wants to wait till 65 before they touch their money? Everyone I talk to wants to retire tomorrow. So we have discussions about what does it look like just to be able to produce income. Show me the traditional retirement account that allows you to get income out of it before you hit retirement age. And again, I build these. So I know for a fact in a 401k, you can borrow against it. So you can get 50% of what's in your 401k up to $50,000 on an annual basis. So you can get money out of a 401k before retirement. But who can retire off that? And then in addition, you still have to pay that back. Whereas inside of MPI, there is no restriction on you being able to access your money when it's available to you. It doesn't matter the age. It could be 35, it could be 36. If you have money inside of your account, you can access it when it's available to you. You do not have to wait. You don't have to ask for permission. You don't have to wait till you have enough points with the company and a certain age. None of those apply. You can touch your money when it's available to you. So
And
again,
and it doesn't have to be vested.
absolutely. There's not a time period that you have to wait. Most companies force you to work there 5 years or if not 15 before all of the money that they have provided to you, the match, becomes accessible to you. But still, if you're not at retirement age, it's still not accessible to you. It just means you're guaranteed that amount and you won't lose it. But you're right. Inside of a vehicle like this, there's no restriction like that. So again, who's better? And again, that kind of speaks to the early retirement potential. You cannot retire early with a traditional retirement account. There's not a financial advisor that you can sit in front of that can provide you with a product that they offer that will allow you to retire when you want to. It is all hinged upon what your company has told you and what the IRS has dictated. And again, we've got a whole country across that water that is in turmoil because the government decided we're going to increase that retirement age. who a part of this live thinks that they would actually be able to retire at an age earlier than 65. I am pretty confident by the time I hit retirement age, the average retirement age for people in this country will be somewhere between 72 and 75. I can almost guarantee it.
It's crazy because that does not mean that you can keep working until 72, 75, or whenever. In many people's cases, there is some significant event where they should stop working, not just for their own health, stress levels, it could be a whole lot of things. It should not be normal to be forced to work and then on top of that have to withdraw and siphon. They don't even have security for life.
No, you're absolutely right. And just so you know, I couldn't see you saying that and no one else could, but we could hear you. You sound wonderful.
Okay. Well, I know I'm not on here. Can I change it real quick?
Absolutely.
Okay. Let's see here.
So, no access penalty. Again, any of you who
There we
have
go.
traditional retirement accounts, here's what you know. Here, I'll make this smaller. Here's what you know about. Here's what you know about traditional retirement accounts. In order to access your traditional retirement account, even if you wanted to use it before retirement age, what happens? You will be penalized and you will be taxed. Well, again, this is a cash value life insurance product that's designed to produce income. A properly cash value life insurance product designed to produce income does not have any restrictions on when you can touch your money or how you touch it. So therefore, there is no access penalty. And again, you can't say the same for an IRA or 401k.
I want to point out a couple of comments.
Just do it.
One is Jacqueline says on Facebook, I love, and I can't see your Facebook, by the way, your Facebook Live. So you have to just check and see if there's comments in there.
Oh, I'm
I,
checking and there are absolutely zero.
okay. I love how you stress properly structured, and thanks for pointing out the compounding fees. I don't think yours is public, though. I think maybe we change that for next time.
Or I
Then,
don't have any friends that like me.
no, that's
And
not
that's okay.
true.
It's okay. We'll get there. Again,
Yeah, I
I
just,
do
I
this
just think there's
enough,
probably a
they
setting.
will get on board. It's a train that's moving and it will
That's
slow
right.
down for everyone. It's not a problem.
And on that note, it doesn't matter to us if four people or two people are watching because the whole goal is, or the whole point is not many people will take time to learn about this stuff, you guys. This is
That's why we
not
got it on
fun.
replay.
Yeah, they come on the replay, that's fine. But for you to be taking time out and to be learning this right now would change the trajectory of your future, your
And again,
children's
this is
future.
not sexy. There's nothing sexy about this. You do not have to like it. But
Yeah.
here's what I'm sharing with you, though, are there's nothing short of facts. So as it relates to legal protections, legal protections is what it is. Meaning, if you have a trust like a 401k, or you have an IRA like a glorified savings account, or a life insurance type product, it is very secure. Matter of fact, it's one of the most secure products you could absolutely have. So they actually all of them offer you legal protection, which is pretty awesome. One of the biggest is security against market risk. Now, a lot of times when I'm having these conversations with clients, especially my clients who are around my age, I'll be 50 this year. So clients who are around my age usually come to me because one, they feel like they're too old. So they're wondering if they're too old to be able to start a process like this. But when I start peeling back the layers around why we're even having this discussion, most of it hinges around I don't feel secure in the retirement products that I have. Yeah, I've got a 401k that has a $500,000 in it. Or yeah, I've got three different IRAs and a 401k from a previous employer that if you put it all together, it has a decent amount in it. But there's this lack of security. And there's this lack of security because everything that we have tied to retirement is subject to market risk. Meaning, when the market does great, let's see, make this a little bit smaller. How's that? When the market does great, we do great. But when the market crashes, or when we change presidents, or inflation goes haywire, or Elon Musk buys Twitter, or whatever that action would be, we are all concerned that somehow our 401k won't survive. And so, what if The growth of your retirement dollars wasn't hinged or wasn't dependent upon the stock market. And here's what I mean. Take a look at, hold on one moment. Just do yellow. Take a look at this point and this point. Notice the time frame, and really the actual year doesn't matter. I just want you to understand the time frame. If you look at these 2 points, I know this is hard to read here. This is approximately 20 years. Here's what this is saying. If you invested in the market at this point, a lot of bad things happen. And it took 20 years before the dollar amount you put in just simply broke even. 20 years. So if you needed to retire during that 20-year period, it was quite a challenge. Matter of fact, you probably picked up a second job to be able to compensate for the money that was lost. And it took a full 20 years for your account to just break even, to get back to the point where you were. And so when I talk to people around my age, the concern is, hey, we had a great run in 2010 up until now. But then all of a sudden something happened. All of a sudden there was a dip. And so the concern is, hey, I am not secure in the retirement that I have because of this market risk. So my question is, what if you could eliminate that market risk? And I blow this up a little bit bigger, so for those of you who want to read it can. But what this is saying is, inside of MPI is a 0% floor. What does that mean? What does a 0% floor mean? So let me break it down. A 0% floor is saying there's a contractual guarantee, and it's not a Donnell guarantee, it's not an MPI guarantee, it's a life insurance guarantee for all IULs. And that guarantee says this: there's a contractual guarantee that you can't lose the money that you've contributed into your IUL because of the 0% floor. And any money that grows from that IUL, any growth on the money that you've contributed, there's a contractual guarantee that says you can't lose the money that has grown from the money that you've contributed. And again, sounds pretty basic, but imagine your 401k or your IRA or your 403b having a 0% floor. How secure would your retirement account be if there was just a 0% floor? And again, what do I mean by 0% floor? So let's apply it to this visual. What would happen if there was a 0% floor during this same time period? So starting, let me make this a little bit bigger. Yeah. All right, good. Yeah, I got it. What if there was a 0% floor here? And what that means is when the market crashed, the money that you had in your 401k at this point was secure. You didn't lose the money that was here. All that meant was you didn't make money during this period. But during this period, your account grew. Now, it didn't grow much, but it grew some. But at this point, when the market crashed, you didn't lose. You just held. And then when the market went up at this point, which is slightly, you made a little bit of money as well. But when the market crashed here, you just held. Ultimately, what ends up happening is the fact that your 401k has a 0% floor, it doesn't matter what happened at this point and this point because you're always just growing with the market. When the market does well, you do well. And so it's the difference of winning and losing compared to exponential growth. Winning and losing creates linear growth. Let me show you what I mean. Here, I guess I can use this. Winning and losing says, hey, I'm winning with the market. When the market crashes, when the market crashes, I lose. But when the market takes off again, I win again. But when the market crashes, I lose. When the market wins again, I win. If you average this growth becomes linear. And hopefully all of us have linear growth in a positive direction. Everything you invest in, I would hope, has linear growth. We would hope has linear growth in a positive direction. But what if you had the ability to not lose? The graph of that looks like this. It starts out slow, but eventually takes off. And actually, let me use a different color. It starts out slow. Oh, way too big.
Wow.
That was huge. But anyway, it starts out slow, but it exponentially takes off. And what ends up happening is there's this point where you surpass what linear growth could do, and everything becomes growth or everything becomes profit from this point forward. There are very few tools out there that have the ability of, that give you the ability to not lose your money when you put or when you contribute to it. And MPI is one of those vehicles. So again, security against market risk, meaning you have the ability to not lose the money that you've made, the money that you've contributed over time. And your IRA, 401k, your traditional retirement accounts, whether Roth or traditional, were just never designed to do that. Let's do it. We
Okay.
can.
She says, I love how you stress properly structured, and thanks for pointing out the compounding fees. Cher was talking about that they've been already incentivized to go to 70. So they're already increasing that age, of course.
Have we started
And
rioting yet?
yeah. Well, and then Jacqueline said, with such a short life expectancy, that leaves what, 15 years or so left?
Man. Um, yeah, you work till 60. Oh, how about this? You work till 70, and I think the life expectancy is what, 77? If not I know it's increasing. I don't think we've hit 80 yet, but I think we're approaching 80. But yeah, to your point, we work 40 years of our life to live another 10, um, and somehow that's supposed to be satisfactory.
Yeah. Hey, Chris, thanks for joining. Um, I also just want to bring up that there's some other things here. It's not just market risk, right?
Hmm.
That we have to
Absolutely.
be aware of. It's also the rising
Healthcare.
costs of healthcare,
Hmm.
right? And just the economy in general. Everything gets more expensive. So, where we think, okay, if you have $1 million for retirement, first and foremost, that is very rare for people to actually achieve that
Well,
and
I
be
have
able
some
to
statistics.
retire.
I can't get the word out. I do have statistics on that. Right. It's almost like the word remember. I hate that word too.
Right? But
Um,
that's the part is that we just kind of go like, well, if I can't get to $1 million, then why even do it? Like YOLO. But by the time you're there, you're thinking back to yourself. And I think we all have this moment where we think back to what we were doing 10 years ago. If you're our age and you have kids that are hitting in their 20s right now, and you see like their mindset and their perspective on their decisions, and you're going like, man, if I was your age and I knew what I knew today, like how different my life would be if I would have just made a few different decisions, right?
and I think that's a, go ahead. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I think that's what I enjoy about a lot of these conversations that I'm having with these 21, 22-year olds, because one, I'm shocked.
Yet they're even
But
calling, right?
absolutely, I'm absolutely 100% shocked. But in addition, though, they are adamant about not being their parents. Like a
Mm.
consistent theme is, I do not want to end up like my dad. My dad is expecting to live or work till 75 and then spend another 7 years in retirement and pass. They adamantly do not want to become their parents and are willing to do what's necessary to make that happen. And when they learn what's necessary isn't as bad as what they were thinking, I usually have clients again making that 40 to $50,000 range. If they just simply take 10% of their income and put it away, by 55, they will have a significant income that they can use to retire or not, or allow it to continue to compound till 65, which is a significant retirement, all off being diligent around putting away 10% of your income. Now, when you get closer to my age, 10% won't get you there. When you get closer to my age, it's more like 20, if not 25%, and you might even have to dump in a lump sum. But we can still get there. But the key is it's some simple adjustments to what it is you're already doing to be able to achieve.
I feel like this generation is split down the middle with I want to do things on my own. I don't want guidance and I don't want advice. And then there's like a whole other section of them who they're like, give me all the wisdom, give me all the advice because I want to level up super fast. And I know that there's access to information that I don't have. I feel like there's a super strong contrast with that. But how heartbreaking is it? Because how many generations before this generation, Gen Z is who you're talking about, how many generations before were like, hey, I'm in this industry because my father was in this industry, my mother, right? My parents were doctors, so I became a doctor, or whatever the case may be. And some of these people are going like, I do not want to follow in their footsteps. Mind you, sometimes there are cases where that was smart to like break cycles and cycle. We have a lot of cycle breakers like in this day and age. 2023 is about breaking those generational cycles, I feel like. But having access to information, man, this generation is different, and I cannot wait to see what their futures look like. I hope I'm there to watch how it pans out, all pans out.
One of my
But
favorite stories is I've got a one of my earlier clients, 22-year-old, who called me actually in tears. And what I learned was his main objective was just not end up like his father, and his concern was his fear. He worked construction. He worked construction with his dad. His dad has been in construction 40 years. He's 22. He's following right into his footsteps. And his concern is his dad is going to fall in one of those concrete holes and pass because, from his perspective, his dad should have been retired a long time ago. But his dad feels as though he can't. He's still got a few girls to get through college. So he feels as though he needs to continue working to make sure his girls make it through college. And this 22-year-old's objective is just simply to not be his father. That's all. It's heartbreaking, but I think it's encouraging as well because he's adamant about what do I need to do to be able to make this happen.
yeah. And a lot of people that you talk to as well, they know that they don't have the time to have something significant in place. Like you can't go back. You can't
Right.
go back and leverage time that's already passed, but you can help the next generation. So if you feel like, you know what, my time has come, this is too I'm too old to get started with a retirement plan, like that ship has sailed. That's not necessarily the truth because you reverse this same sentiment, and now what you're able to do is help someone else leverage that. And now when you do need help in the support, you have a system that's already in place and a machine that's already working for you that you can leverage, and then you can pass it on.
Absolutely. And so the next item is 10% growth potential. And here's the truth about all retirement related products, they all actually generate and grow wealth pretty well. Um, I create IRAs and 401ks. I create MPI plans. I do secure life insurance products. Again, it's all about properly structured. I don't care what the vehicle is, if you structure it properly, it will build income for you. Now, usually the problem is who the vehicle is with. Who that cash value life insurance policy is with is usually the problem. What custodian your 401k, your IRA, your 403b is with is usually the problem. What company is managing your traditional retirement plan is usually the problem. It is not the vehicle. All of the vehicles do a pretty good job of producing income. So, from that perspective, they all do well in this category. Um, And I think that's the encouraging part. So whether you have a traditional retirement account and that's all you have, it isn't the vehicle. It is where it is. And from a self-directed retirement account, what I harp on, what I preach is get self-directed. Get self-directed is just simply saying take control. Take control of your traditional retirement accounts, take control of your previous employer's retirement accounts, and by simply making some adjustments, you can actually achieve the same income that all of these other vehicles are doing. It's just that you have to be structured to do so. And what that takes is it takes action. It takes action on your part. A lot of these, again, if you're working with a financial advisor, nothing against financial advisors, their job is to sell you what they have. Their job isn't to make sure you can retire with as much income as you want. Their job is to make sure you are putting your money in the vehicles that they offer. And hopefully they are structuring those vehicles to produce as much income, but that is not their number one goal. I don't know what life insurance products you might have, but there are life insurance companies out there that are more concerned with how much life insurance you have, not how much income you're producing. Like, for instance, can you name one life insurance company that has ever cared about income? Like, when was the last time you walked into State Farm and they said, hey, come over here and let me show you how to make more money? It just does not exist. That's not their business model. But it is the responsibility of a retirement planner. It is their business model. It is my business model to make sure that's what's happening. And I think that's where the difference lies. As it relates to secure leverage, this one is an interesting piece because what secure leverage is saying, I can't do this on my own. The money that I'm contributing into my retirement, again, using this example of a 30-year-old putting away $500 a month. Can that 30-year-old putting away $500 a month over 35 years achieve the income that they want to achieve with no help? Well, most of us who have traditional retirement accounts have a match. I would hope you have some type of match coming from your company. So there's leverage associated with helping you get to your goal faster. And the word leverage can be deceiving because a lot of us, like some of the terms that I usually hear is, hey, I'm just taking the free money from my company. So I'm contributing to my 401k up into the match because I want the free money. But no one has ever really done the math on what that actually means. Yes, it's leverage. Yes, it's secure, but is it enough to help you hit your goal? Is really the question that should be asked. But the moral of the story is majority of your retirement accounts, with the exception of IRAs, any type of IRA, SEP IRA, Roth IRA, traditional IRA, traditional 401k, 401ks. So what I'll do is I'll draw a line here because there are some that absolutely allow you to use secure leverage, but as it relates to MPI, it doesn't matter. The items that do not traditionally allow secure leverage inside of your product are too big. Anything IRA related traditionally does not allow for secure leverage. So in that case, and again, I know you probably can't read that, but in that case, anything traditional IRA related does not allow for secure leverage, but everything else does. And again, I go back to, it's not the vehicle, it's really where the vehicle is sitting. And then the question you want to ask is that leverage enough to help me get to my goal? And these last two, I won't spend a whole lot of time here, but these last two, tax-free retirement income and annual retirement income, all of them offer annual retirement income, and majority of them can be converted to tax-free retirement income. However, most of the retirement accounts, there's what, $33 trillion tied up in retirement accounts. I want to say at least 85% of that are tied up in traditional retirement accounts. And what that means is your employer's retirement plan, SEP IRA, traditional 401k, 403b, government 457 plan, TSP, those traditional retirement accounts are all deferred um, uh, deferred interest, meaning they are all non-Roth. They're all traditional retirement accounts, which means you're going to be taxed on the distribution when you are at retirement age. And the way they sell it is this: hey, you don't have to pay taxes today. You can put in tax deferred money into your retirement account. And what does that mean? You're reducing your taxable expense. And then therefore you actually have more money, or you have less money that you're being taxed on an annual basis because you're putting in tax deferred dollars. And we have been conditioned to believe that that's a positive. We've been conditioned to believe that your company taking out pre-tax dollars and putting it into your retirement is helping you. But here's what actually is happening: you are giving your company or giving the IRS an open checkbook to charge you whatever the tax rate is in the future. And just think this through for a minute. Do you believe the tax rate that you're currently paying today is going to be less or more in the future? And if you don't care about tax rate, look at it from a gas perspective. Do you think the money that you're paying for gas today is going to be less today or less in the future? Everything is getting more expensive. Everything will cost more in the future. So what that ultimately means is, in the future, when you're 70 plus years old and you need all of the retirement dollars you have available to you, you're going to be taxed on that total dollar amount, and you're going to be paying the highest amount of taxes at that point because you're giving the government an open checkbook to charge you whatever the tax rate they feel they feel is necessary to charge, versus paying tax today, becoming Roth today, putting in whatever you're contributing to a vehicle that you're going to be taxed on the contributions today, but any growth that happens from that money from this point forward is growing tax free, which means in the future, when you go to take a distribution, when you actually need that money, you're not concerned as to what the tax rate is because you're achieving your goal tax free. Again, which is better? It's a paradigm shift because we've been conditioned to believe something different. So if you don't walk away with anything else as it relates to these two topics, tax-free retirement and annual tax-free income, the goal is to be living in a Roth environment, and all of these vehicles do allow for it. It just depends on where you get this vehicle from. Your traditional retirement account, your company retirement account does not allow for tax-free retirement, but the vehicles are capable of producing it. So your goal should be how do I convert this current retirement account that I have into Roth? Or how do I leave this current retirement plan that I have to create a retirement account that is Roth like MPI? So to summarize, if you look at the comparison between traditional retirement accounts and MPI, it really does not compare. There are some great, um, there's some solid, I'll call it, pieces associated with traditional retirement accounts around being able to have 10+% growth, secure leverage, tax free retirement, and annual retirement income. But as it relates to these other vehicles associated with whether you have life insurance, a living benefit, decreasing fees, no access penalty, early retirement opportunity, um, um, again, it just does not compare inside of a properly structured life insurance product. Now, here's how I would like to leave this.
Oh, wait,
Uh,
we have a question,
okay, let's do it.
which I think is key for right now. Why do people not buy MPI as much as all the other known and traditional ones? Miguel,
Man, I love this
LinkedIn.
question. Um, so for that, I need to give a little history lesson. MPI, maximum premium indexing, um, in its current form, in its current form, has been around since 2014. So part of the reason why is simply advertising. A lot of people don't know about it. But if you peel the layers back a little bit, the process of producing tax free retirement inside of a properly structured life insurance product in the form of premium financing has been around since 1997. In 1997 is when Roth started. Well, the life insurance industry said, hey, we want to be able to participate in this tax free retirement growth as well. So they created this LIRP, Life Insurance Retirement Plan, LIRP. They created this LIRP in the form of premium financing. And what premium financing is, it's where you use leverage from a bank inside of your cash value life insurance product to be able to exponentially grow your retirement. So again, it's been around since 1997. The problem with premium financing is people like you and I couldn't qualify for it. You had to have $5 million dollars in net worth in order to have a LIRP in the form of premium financing. And the gentleman that created MPI was offered a LIRP in the form of premium financing around, was it 2014, I think? And he asked a very simple question of the gentleman that allowed him to purchase that LIRP. Why don't you have one? Why don't you have a premium finance policy like this? Because the money grows exponentially. It produces 4 times that of a traditional retirement account. Why doesn't everyone have one of these? And his response was because I can't qualify for it. Because I have to have $5 million dollars in net worth and I have to have X amount of DTI and all of the other rules and regulations associated. And between those two individuals, one being Curtis Ray and the other being his brother, they created maximum premium indexing, meaning instead of having to use bank leverage in order to grow your account exponentially, there's a way to use your own cash value inside of this product to be able to do it for you. And in the process of creating that, it took till 2017 before Mutual of Omaha raised their hand and say, hey, Curtis, we see what you're trying to do. Come over here and let's do it through us. And then ever since then, there's been multiple life insurance companies, many life insurance companies that have been trying to jump on board. So why haven't you heard about this? One, it's fairly new. But the other is, why would you? Think about it. In order for you to understand a product like this, the life insurance companies have to be willing to take or make less money. Again, as I mentioned, MPI has the least amount of fees. Well, who benefits from fees? Life insurance companies benefit from fees. So if it's structured such that it's the least amount of fees, that implies that life insurance companies are making less money. So the life insurance companies have to be willing to take a hit in order for you to be able to produce income. And there's not many life insurance companies whose business model says we make less money so you can make more. And so therefore requires retirement planners like myself to be able to structure them. And then as it relates to people who sell life insurance, because I don't consider myself one, I consider myself a retirement planner who offers a life insurance product. But for people who sell life insurance, in order for you to provide an MPI plan, you have to be willing to take less commission. Show me the Prime America agent who's willing to take less commission so that you can make more income. There's not very many out there. And so if you put all of the people who provide MPI in a room, it's probably less than 100 people. There's not very many people that understand the power of this product or how to structure it. But we're coming. And here's why we're coming. And I go back to my original statement around the 0% floor. The 0% floor allows the money that you contribute to not be lost due to the market performance, and any money that your money makes to not be lost. So because of that security, we will take over this retirement space because IRAs, 401ks, traditional retirement accounts cannot offer this security. And what people like you and I need when the markets are in turmoil like this is security. So, again, long way of answering that question, but hopefully I sufficiently answered it. What other questions you got?
Actually, I don't know. We just have comments, just
Okay.
people agreeing or kind of giving you feedback. And he's
Feedback. I like
saying,
feedback. Do I need to slow down?
yeah, he's saying, or maybe they do, but I hadn't heard about it before. Not that I'm experienced. I hope that that answers your question, Miko. But it's also why we're out here talking
Yeah,
about it, right?
absolutely. Absolutely.
I mean, we have to get out here and start talking about it. Donnell's on the phone all day long with calls back to back all
Got a
day,
call in
every day.
15 minutes.
And so it's making himself available not because he has to, but because we know how important it was for us to be able to get access to information and how that has significantly changed our lives. So we're wanting to get out here, even if it's uncomfortable, even if we're not the best, we're not pros at live streaming.
Right.
That part doesn't matter for those who are willing to spend the time with us, whether if it's right here to be able to ask questions or it's during the live replay. We welcome it all. So we're not really we value each and every person who has come on here with us this evening, and we hope that you've learned something. We hope that we have transferred some value here. If you have further questions, though, like let's say some people say, oh, I didn't want to ask this in a chat. I didn't want to put this in the comment because I didn't want it to seem some kind of way or whatever. Just go to selfdirected.info and ask it there. Just fill out the form, reach out. Or I think here we have a banner here with the number.
So, and while you're pulling that up, couple things. Um, in my mind, this live transitions to people wanting to know how something like this can impact them,
Yeah,
and it's
for
as
sure.
simple as what's your age, what's your roundabout yearly income, because I can tell you what you should contribute based off your age and your income, but maybe you don't want to share your income. It's your age and what would you like to contribute. And we can run your numbers right here on this calculator to be able to show you what it would look like. And in preparation for Thursday, let me also explain where I'm headed for Thursday. I've talked a lot about being properly structured as a properly structured life insurance product. There's a lot of life insurance products out there. You've heard of infinite banking with whole life. You've heard of IULs. You've heard of variable life, universal life. And MPI is a product of an index universal life insurance product. Well, why does MPI use an IUL compared to anything else? So what I want to do Thursday is just break down some of the differences between the life insurance products we're used to hearing about, like term life insurance and term buy term and invest the rest. How does all of those types of things compare? Because today we've compared traditional retirement accounts to something like MPI. What I'd like to do is break down the world of life insurance and why still MPI destroys all of that as well. And again, I would think that this live ends up transitioning to just running examples. So, any of you who are watching this, be thinking about how your current situation would match in a vehicle like this. And please, you can share your, again, age, what you would like to contribute, or age and your annual income. And if you want to do it privately, Angelique will share how you can actually share that information privately. But I would gladly run your numbers right here and show you how it would compare against traditional retirement accounts. Because I think I would prefer this entire hour be filled with how can this help you? What we're trying to do is use this time to educate. You need to understand the vehicles first before you feel comfortable enough to go, oh, okay, now I want to understand how this could actually benefit me. Does that make sense?
Yep. So if we have anyone who wants to just throw an example in the chat, we have a couple more minutes, or we are past the hour. We're at an hour in 16 or so.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to take a minute before you jump on your call, we can go ahead and I think end this here. If you screenshot this though, the number, just to be able to text him, then he can go ahead and run that for you as well. So that's another great way, and to be able to ask him questions too. Sometimes this is really personal, which is why we give this option. Whether you want to put it in the comments, a lot of people do, especially on TikTok. Not as common to see this happen off of TikTok, so they're probably like, "Why would I put my information in there?" People are loading them in over there on TikTok, so we know that that's not everybody's over there, and we shouldn't be gatekeeping this information to just where you get a lot of views or a lot of attendance for your live streams, right? So this is why we're here. Screenshot this number and send your information there. Reach out to us, and otherwise mark your calendars and come back on Thursday. We are committed to doing Tuesday and Thursday every week, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time.
Maybe
Be here.
6:05.
What?
Maybe 6:05.
Yeah, sometimes 6-ish. It's 6-ish. And you guys are coming in at 6-ish. But we've committed to this. So we'll be back. Follow Donnell wherever you are. Gotta get used to this. Get over here. And or me if you're coming from Donnell's channel, whatever, and hit the bell so that you can be notified the next time that we go live. And we'll get better about setting up events and stuff. I have received that feedback, and I am improving on our promotion strategy. Right now, we're just trying to get the ball rolling. So
Right.
we're here. This is a win.
I call it shooting free throws. My goal is just to shoot a million free throws. So I'm going to miss a few.
Yeah, we're here, but we appreciate everybody for tuning in. Thank you so much. Ken, hello. Thank you for joining us. You're kind of late, but you can catch the replay, so that's a good thing. Miguel, see Shri, who else we had? Charles, Christopher, Gabe. We had Jacqueline and Cher and Ted and somebody else, but I don't think they had made comments. So that's okay. Even if you're just watching, just to start wrapping your mind around this information, it's that important, right? All right. Well, I think for me, do you have any last comments? We can roll the outro.
No, I think we're good.
All right. I'm Angelique.
And I'm Donnell.
All right. Stay healthy and get self-directed. Hold on 1 second. Hey, before you go, we want to remind you that becoming fully self-directed means gaining complete control over your wealth, time, and freedom. It's not just an idea. It's a framework, a mindset, and the power to make informed decisions to secure your future. Being here means you're taking those steps, and we want to thank you for allowing us to guide you. We believe that we grow farther and faster when we grow together. So tune in next time and tell a friend to tell a friend. We've helped thousands of people just like you start their journey to financial freedom. And if they can do it, you can too. And if you're ready to learn more, we got you. Get a head start by grabbing these 2 free books. But how do they get them, Donnell?
Head over to my website where you'll have access to a few things. A ton of free resources, case studies, and over 100 5-star reviews from people just like you. And in 15 minutes, we can explore what's possible for you. So don't wait.
Invest in what you want, when you want.
But first, let us help you get self